Hey, what do you know about the Oddfellows? This came with the building. All right, sorry for the delay. I can't do it in one shot. Oh well, I'm gonna have to stitch it together. I don't like editing, but whatever, we're gonna do it. We're gonna go through Final Cut Pro and stitch that first thing, and stitch this, and stitch that couple seconds of the Oddfellows, what is that? Cornerstone, I don't know what it was, Cornerstone or something. Anyway, so I'd be lying to you if I told you that, meditation was the only thing that helped me do this. It was marijuana, actually, that was probably the door opener for me. I don't need to get into all that now, but we'll just say that so it's part of the record. Now, the only person I've told this story to about this craft I saw is my mother and my father. And my dad's a know-it-all, and he doesn't think anything of UFOs. He doesn't consider any of that stuff. He thinks I'm delusional. Said that to me as recently as just a couple days ago. And I get really pissed off, just trying to tell this story to somebody, and this is what I get. And so it puts you in this kind of state where you don't even want to talk about anything. And it's actually the reason why I'm going to keep continuing this journey, including getting through the rest of this report I wrote and this book, which we're now going to do a quick, not a summation, not a book report, but we're going to talk about this book because this book has an incredible reveals in it. This is by Jim Keith, who wrote these books. That's in focus. Whatever. I'm sorry. Okay, so Tom O'Neill goes around telling you everything about the Sharon Tate murder and mentions MK Ultra, I don't even think he uses by name hypnotic trance programming, right? He doesn't get into that. But what Jim Keith talks about, there's a couple things in here that are really important. One of which is, let me go look through the chapter list. It's been a couple months since I read this. I can't identify which. I mean, this is an incredible table of contents. Shit, let's just show this. There you go, table of contents. So that doesn't really give anything away, but that's what it is. And I don't know which chapter it's in, but let me tell you as I remember it. So a couple of things about the murder, very important. One of which is Sharon Tate was murdered in the hanged man position. And shit, I really need to find it because I'm gonna have to find it. I have a PDF version of this book. I'm gonna search it. I'm gonna find it. And when I message you this link, this URL to this video, I'll have the quote. But first point, also she may have a connection to Sirhan Sirhan, and she may have been the girl in the polka dot dress. I'm talking about Sharon Tate. And it may have been the fact that she was clocked, witnesses those things that ended up her being murdered. Okay, so the key details that are revealed in this book are, one, the hanged man position. A position which Roman Polanski echoes in a 2000 movie, The Ninth Gate, with Johnny Depp, a movie about trying to open up the 9 gates of hell, looking through tarot cards and noticing the differences between one set and another set. One is the correct set that has the real magical power. The other one's for the dummies. It doesn't have the key detail that is the magical kind of thing that makes the whole magic trick work, to open up a gate to hell. All right, so part of it involved a guy hanging by the hanged man. Which actually, if you're going to... Maybe her murder was some kind of, incantation to some entity that's going to open these gates. I don't know. First off, that point, okay? Polanski puts the same position in a movie, okay? Next point. Sirhan Sirhan is at a shooting range, and there's I think they identified Tate there with Sirhan, same place, propinquity now. Same place at the same time. And she says something like, "Get away from me," whatever. She blows him off. That was the recorded comment. Was the guy that identified them mentioned that this was the substance of their interaction, Sirhan Sirhan and Sharon Tate. So as I've dug into these cults, this is a sex cult, right? You get these girls, you trance them, you get them to realize their seductive powers and able to make men do whatever they want and give up the booty and all the good stuff, and but it comes with these attachments, and mind control probably has this incredible sex thing next to it, adjacent to it. We learn about these experiments. It all goes back to this sex stuff, and actually it's reminding me of the film that Robert De Niro directed about Skull and Bones, about where De Niro is playing Dulles, even with the gout feet, right? That's the key giveaway. He plays a different name, but the character has gout, right? That's Dulles. That movie is called, God, what's the name of that movie? It was so boring. It was like, I love spy movies, and I learned so much from De Niro. And, he looks like a controlled guy now. He's got so many of these people, I think, they're controlled. Something happened to them, and they can't step out of line. And anyway, I learned a lot from movies, and the movie in question is it's Matt Damon in it. Anyway, it's about these secret fraternities, and what do they want you to do? They make you wrestle in excrement. They make you tell your deepest, darkest secrets, and that's how they have their control of you. That's what mind control is. That's what Jim Keith is talking about. And so that book from Jim Keith, Just Off Camera, it tells about Delgado and the implants and the mechanism for getting somebody to, without their knowing, act in a way that they aren't aware of. That they're not consciously deciding, they're being prompted somehow. The other detail about the murder, about that particular murder that requires attention, is the fact that who owned the Spahn Ranch. So who owned the Spahn Ranch was Quentin Tarantino fantasizes that it's this old guy and he was watching over the property. Yeah, the Spahn guy. Yeah, well, he didn't own the ranch. He was just the caretaker, right? He was the name he was the cover. It was really owned by somebody who came over from the SS, from the Third Reich. And Keith puts it in that book. And again, I can't find that book. I have to go through that book and better prepare. But those are the key elements that when you have somebody out there professing to be the know-it-all, so I don't know why that interrupted there. That was kind of interesting. So when you have this guy who professes to be the expert, and he's on all these other people, all these other podcasts, and he's giving you all these details, and he's telling you about this one thing, but he's omitting this really incredible part on the other side of it, which tells you who funded the whole fucking thing, who was fostering these operations and these people. So I told you about the spaceship. I told you that I studied. I'm not going to get through that rest of that paper. It's too boring. And the camera keeps cutting out because I only got 10% on the battery left. But what I wanted to tell you about also is is this. So if you ask, like, well, you know, why does a spaceship contact you? And why, I don't know, but I think they read your mind, and I think the things you think about really matter. And you know, so what I was thinking about is I've lived different phases in my life. I've been able to do some things and some things I couldn't, and oh fuck, I don't need to get into all that. But you learn there are necessities in life. And DJ, you worked at a Mac magazine or something, and you were an editor or something. I don't know, man. But this is one of my heroes, and this thing, he's got this Macintosh. Because with this, we can change the world, right? With the story that this guy told, this guy tells us all about this past we didn't know about. This occulted past in the show Cosmos. This guy tells us about, you know, the people who run the world, and he tells you about the future, like in 2001, and he shows you the forecasting of artificial intelligence and having, you know, the thing with Hal, the secret with Hal, it wasn't that Hal fucking went crazy, is that Hal had other objectives. Hal wasn't trying to take care of people, he was trying to get somewhere, right? That was all he fucking cared about. So us humans are in a real pickle if we're going to give up all our stuff, all our life, to something that's going to have motives and we're not even aware of. So the reason I think that a UFO came to me is because what one project is, I made this website. I made a 501c3, which I don't need to do because I don't care about, you know, why do people make 501c3s? Is they make 501c3s. Fucking A. Minimum focus distance. So these things here, I'm sorry, getting back to Buckminster Fuller's idea of doing the most with the least. And so we've got, you know, Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man was a, you know, it's an important thing for me. It's like 5 points. There's the Pentagon. Maybe that has something to do with that dodecahedron. By the way, this fucking thing. Eventually I'll get this thing to work well so I can control it well. But in the time being, that dodecahedron also appears in the show Raised by Wolves. This is a really shitty camera angle to be shooting myself. Oh, fuck that. Let's go over here. So, there are these 5 things, right? If we sheltered everybody, if we took care of everybody, and I'm not talking about a smart city that's has surveillance in the fucking name. I'm talking about experimental prototype community of tomorrow. Actually came from Walt Disney, all right? I'm going to say Walt Disney because Walt Disney told me about what he did with Imagineering, dream, believe, dare, do. 4 steps to make magic. That's what that does, is it makes magic. So let's take this up here. You're going to see my face when I'm talking to you about this. Okay, so if you shelter everybody and you give everybody the tools they need to do whatever they want to do, including the library of all the information of the world, you give them free communication to both receive and transmit. You nourish them with actual real food that's probably grown from the earth and not coming from other means that have been tainted. I can't get into all this now, but what this